What's good, YouTube? This is Cam chilling back again with another video. I'm about to give you my predictions for now week 12 of this NFL season of 2024 of 2025. And man, can you believe we're only just a few weeks away until the end of this NFL season? It feels like this season has been flying very, very fast. Can you believe it? Like we're just about, what is it, 7 or 8 weeks left until the end of the season. Then of course we got the playoffs and we got the Super Bowl, but still, this season has been flying just like these. But anyways, week 12 predictions. Now there's one thing that I forgot to mention when I was making my week 11 prediction. I've been keeping track of how many games I got correct and how many games I've gotten incorrect for each week. I forgot to bring that up when I made my week 11 predictions video. I've been keeping track on how many games I had correct and incorrect for every single week of this NFL season. So one week I had like maybe 12 correct and maybe 2 incorrect. And then another week I may have 11 right and probably like 3 incorrect. Well, this past week I had 10 games correct and 4 games incorrect. And I've been adding up all the games that I had correct and incorrect for every single week. But yeah, I ended up with 10 and 4 last week. So I've been adding all the games I had correct and incorrect for every single week. Right now, I am sitting at 110 games correct and 57 games I had incorrect. Just remember this. Professor Kim is in the building. He's going to share his IQ with y'all fellas. That's how smart I am when it comes to the NFL. Do not forget about that. But anyway, let's get into this week 12 games. Now, there's one game that was already been gone, and that was the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. The Browns were able to get the job done against their division opponent, the Pittsburgh Steelers, 24-19. I would expect this game to be a bit competitive, but I didn't think that the Browns were going to win that game. It was a defensive game throughout the first half of that game. I didn't think either one of these teams scored until like the second quarter, and if you can tell through the whole game, it was coming down hard. That snow, man. That snow was coming down really hard down there. I don't know how these football players were able to see out there on the football field, especially the quarterbacks like Jameis Winston. I don't know how they do it, but hey, they did it. They got it done. Good kudos to the Cleveland Browns. Perhaps I might give them to boost up their confidence. Now, I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs or anything like that. They still have a long ways to go if they want to have the chance to get into the playoffs. But at least that would give them a confidence boost moving forward. And as for the Pittsburgh Steelers, this might be a bad look. But again, this is a divisional opponent. And sometimes it happens. Like, you would lose a game that you don't really expect. It hasn't been a great performance so far for the Steelers offense. I mean, you came off with a huge division win against the Baltimore Ravens by only scoring field goals. Great by Mr. Chris Boswell, making 6 of those field goals. Those were the only points that the Steelers have scored. Now, they did have a chance to score more points up there, but there were just a few errors there in the red zone. And even this game, they only put up 19 points. Now, I know that the Cleveland Browns defense was good, but they did not look that way against the New Orleans Saints, which surprised me. But that does not mean I'm going to jump off of the Steelers bandwagon. I still believe the Steelers are going to make the playoffs. Now, we'll see if they're going to win the division once the season ends, because the Ravens are right there on their tails there right now. But I still like the Steelers here in the postseason. We'll see what happens when they make it in the postseason, at least in my opinion. But either way, I picked the Steelers to beat the Browns, and I was wrong. So 0-1 for this week. Let's move on. You got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Carolina Panthers. The Chiefs' undefeated streak has been snapped. Now, I don't really care if the Chiefs will lose a game here or not, I know everybody might be coming after me like, boy, you know that you wanted the Chiefs to lose every game. Honestly, I just love watching Patrick Mahomes. Okay, that's just me. I don't really care whether or not if they win or lose in the game. I just never bet against Patrick Mahomes. That's why I picked the Chiefs to beat the Buffalo Bills, but the Bills proved me wrong. And I should have known that the Bills have owned the Chiefs in the regular season. Now in the playoffs, that's a different story, but the Bills were able to snap the undefeated streak of the Kansas City Chiefs. And this offense for the Kansas City Chiefs has been hit or miss, especially with those injuries with the wide receivers. Whether if it's Rashid Rice going out, whether if it's Isaiah Pacheco, the running back goes out. They have been a bit inconsistent so far this season. Patrick Mahomes has yet to play a great game so far in the season, and they were still able to go undefeated until they meet the Buffalo Bills. They are going to be taking on the Carolina Panthers, who were able to enjoy themselves a bye week, and they were sitting in their couches laughing at the Kansas City Chiefs as they lost to the Buffalo Bills, but then they realized they got to face the Kansas City Chiefs this upcoming weekend. How insane would it be to see the Carolina Panthers actually being the Kansas City Chiefs? Could you imagine how many memes are going to be up on the internet, all over on social media? It would have been insane. Now, I don't know how many memes are going to be thrown up there, but I know it's going to be a lot of them if that would be the case. But I'm sure we all know that's definitely not going to happen. Even though the Panthers, they've been coming off of a winning streak lately. They won 2 in a row so far before the bye week. But let's be real. The Panthers are nowhere close at the Kansas City Chiefs level at all. Nowhere close. This is the 2-time reigning Super Bowl champions we're talking about here. They're about to coming in very, very, very angry coming into Carolina. They're going to dominate against this Carolina Panthers team. Now the Panthers have extra rest, so they had a bye week, so perhaps they could somehow, some way make things interesting in this game. But even if they do, they still going to lose there anyway. But do I see this being a close game? No. I expect the Chiefs to absolutely dominate and put a whooping on the Carolina Panthers and bounce back after that undefeated streak has been snapped from last week. So, give me the Kansas City Chiefs. Then we got ourselves an NFC North battle here between the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. The Vikings were able to get the job done against the Tennessee Titans. Now, they had a pretty bad beginning of the game. Sam Darnold, I'm talking about, with a bad turnover. But then after that bad turnover, the offense started to get clicking. The offense has been looking good. The defense has been looking good all around. They're going to be taking on the Chicago Bears, who, man, they have been dealing heartbreak after another heartbreak this season. First, it was the Washington Commanders a number of weeks ago in that Hail Mary. And then last week, they had a chance to do the impossible. They had the chance to take down the Green Bay Packers for the first time in a long time until Carl Brooks happened with those fingers. If Carl Brooks' fingers did not go up, did not touch that ball, we would have been talking about the Bears very differently. But, man, Caleb Williams, who actually looked pretty good in that game, especially in that last drive, he was able to move the ball down the field, got the team in position to be able to win the football game, but it just did not go the way as planned. Now, this is a divisional game. It's being played in Chicago, and you may never know what's going to happen in these division games. I would not be surprised if the Chicago Bears are able to get the job done against the Minnesota Vikings since we play in Chicago. They do have a very good defense, the Bears I'm talking about, but so do the Vikings. To me, the Vikings are just a better football team here right now. They have been rolling there so far. May not be the prettiest of wins, but they're winning. They're 8-2 here for a reason, and I expect their winning streak, unfortunately, to continue after this game. Give me the Minnesota Vikings over the Chicago Bears. But if they somehow able to lose to the Chicago Bears, I'll be laughing real hard. I mean, laying down on this floor right here, cackling. You can't beat the Chicago Bears. But yeah, I would hope that would happen, but I would like to see it to believe it. Give me the purple incarnation of Satan, the Minnesota Vikings. Then you got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Houston Texans, an AFC South battle here. The Tennessee Titans, as I talked about earlier, had a nice turnover there in the beginning of the first quarter, but then they were able to make things competitive against the Minnesota Vikings, but just could not come away with the win, unfortunately. The rest were against them throughout most of the game, as they had a number of penalties, and things just looking really bad here for Tennessee throughout this season. And they're going to be taking on the Houston Texans, who coming off of a blowout victory over the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Joe Mixon was just running all over the Dallas Cowboys defense, just like pretty much how every good running back was able to do against that Cowboys defense. I mean, it was just bad. Flat out absolutely bad. But I will say this, and Texans fans are not going to like it, what I'm about to say. Even though it looked like a blowout win, but you look at the first half, the Texans kind of let the Cowboys hang around for a little bit. It was like 17-13, I want to say, throughout the whole first half of that game. The Cowboys were hanging around against the Houston Texans. Now, good thing the Texans were able to pull away with it after that, but that is something that I didn't expect to see. Now, this is a team that I had going to the championship game, and I'm still gonna stick with that. But man, if you allow a 3-win team stay competitive against y'all, especially in the first half, the way that the Texans did, that's kind of giving me some pause right there. But they still got 7 wins, so a win is a win. So kudos to that. But there is no way I expect the Titans to even win against the Houston Texans. Now, you can say what you want about the Texans being quote-unquote fraudulent. They're still a very, very good team, and this is a bad Titans team that the Texans are about to face. So give me the Houston Texans to get the job done over the Tennessee Titans. Maybe the Titans make things interesting, make this a close game, but at the end, the Texans are going to pull it off. Give me the Houston Texans. Then you got the Detroit Lions taking on the Indianapolis Colts. 52 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I know that the Jaguars are bad and they have their backup quarterback, Mac Jones, but still, 52 points is insane. And this is not the first time we see the Lions did it. They even did it against the Tennessee Titans. They just been dominating against these bad football teams, but that's what you have to do when you're a very, very good football team. They are now number ones of making the Super Bowls in terms of the odds. Now, perhaps that might change after this weekend, but right now, they're looking like the best team in the NFL, and rightfully so. God, this team is just looking so, so dominant. They're going to be taking on the Indianapolis Colts, who got a win over the New Jersey Jets. And Anthony Richardson looked really good in that game. Now, there were still a couple of throws that looked very inaccurate right there, but a lot of those throws looked very accurate. He literally played his best game of the season. He definitely looked like an NFL quarterback in that game. So very, very good for Anthony Richardson after having a 2-week timeout, if you want to call it, after saying he was tired after playing against the Houston Texans. But still, very good to see Anthony Richardson playing a good football game. Now, this game feels weird for me because if Anthony Richardson continues to play the way he did against the New Jersey Jets, they might make this game very, very close against the Detroit Lions. Now, the Lions are just on another level, but maybe the Colts might be going off on the run, trying to make their way into the playoffs, trying to make that wild card. But I can't ignore what the Lions have been doing so far in this season, being so dominant for a number of weeks. It's nice to see Anthony Richardson giving the Colts a big-time boost over the New Jersey Jets, but as much as I would love to see the Colts beating the Detroit Lions, I just don't see how that's going to happen here. So give me the more dominant team in the Detroit Lions. I think they're going to run all over the Indianapolis Colts with Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, playing against a pretty bad defense against the Colts. And Anthony Richardson, he may do some things with his legs and with his arm, but just won't do enough to get the job done against the Lions. So give me the Detroit Lions over the Colts. Then you got an AFC East showdown between the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. And I'm sure Patriots fans wants to see it to be over just like that. Now, there is a bright future, I will say that. Drake May has been looking good the past few weeks now, so at least you may have your quarterback on lock, but in terms of the team roster, not so much. As they lose to the Los Angeles Rams at home in New England, got 4 touchdowns scored on them. And this is not the defense that I remembered here when I look at the New England Patriots. I mean, this defense has been regressing. They're going to be taking on the Miami Dolphins, who has been getting some momentum lately. First, they beat the LA Rams the week before, and then this past week, they were able to beat the Vegas Raiders. Now, I understand that the Raiders are not very good, but this is what you expect the Dolphins team to do. Kind of dominate against some bad teams that in terms of the Raiders. Now, this is going to be interesting. We're in the last week in November, so you know what that means. December football is coming, and Dolphins fans who are watching right now probably already know how Dolphins do in December games, especially playing in winter and bad weather. But for right now, we're going to talk about the last week of November. That's what we're talking about for right now. It's going to be interesting. We're going to see if the Miami Dolphins will be able to make the push into the playoffs, potentially make it into the wild card. But it's definitely going to be a tall task to do. I'm not really sure if they're going to be able to do that. But I definitely love how this offense has been looking, man. I mean, you clearly see in your own eyes. When Tua was not out there, that offense looked bad. B-A-D, bad, bad, bad. And when Tua was back on the football field, whew, they have been flying. And everybody is happy. Now, in this game, I won't be surprised if this game ends up being very close. It is a division game. Perhaps the Patriots might make this game close, but I expect the Dolphins to pull it off there at the end. And by the way, Tua Tagovailoa, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He is undefeated in his career against the New England Patriots, and I do not see why that's going to change now. Give me the Miami Dolphins to continue their momentum, potentially trying to get into the playoffs, into this run. This is what I expect to see. Give me the Dolphins. Then you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Jersey Giants. The Bucs were able to enjoy themselves the bye week, and they got good news. Mike Evans looks like he will be back for this game. And that is very, 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 very good news. Even though the offense has still been clicking without Mike Evans. So that was very, very impressive right there. And now you're getting him back. That's definitely a big boost right there for the Buccaneers offense. They're going to be taking on the Giants. Okay, so let's talk about the Giants, okay? They've been making a number of news so far into this week. All right, so first off, they benched Daniel Jones. And you wouldn't believe if I tell you, but they're benching him not as the second string quarterback, but as the fourth string quarterback. What? Your $160 million quarterback getting benched and you're putting him in your fourth string quarterback? I thought you loved this guy. You over here talking about, oh, that man Daniel Jones is so good. He's going to be the next Eli Manning. He is so good. That's what the Giants organization have been saying. And now you put him as your fourth string. And then after that, I want to say it was either Thursday or maybe it was yesterday, but you put him in safety at the safety position. You think this guy plays defense now? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And then after that, Daniel Jones asked to get released, and the Giants give it to him. So now Daniel Jones is no longer a part of this football team. Tommy DeVito is going to be the guy who is going to be taking the spot at the starting quarterback position for the New York Giants. Now, and even though the Buccaneers defense has not really lived up to the hype, I just don't see how Tommy is going to be able to make this Giants offense look better. Now, their running back, Tracy, who has not been bad for a rookie running back. He has been a decent substitute running back. but he's not Saquon Barkley. You see how Saquon Barkley is doing over there for the Philadelphia Eagles? This guy's been playing like a monster right now. But anyway, give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, the Giants are clearly tanking. There's literally absolutely zero hope here for the New Jersey Giants. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, especially with the return of Mike Evans. He's probably going to be dominating in his first game back, but even if he doesn't, I still expect the Bucs here to win this game, and it probably won't be even close. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then you got an NFC East showdown between the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders. The season for the Cowboys has been falling apart. Whether if it's their offense, whether if it's their defense, whether if it's the stadium itself. And yes, a piece of debris on the Cowboys team has literally fallen onto the football field. Okay, that's pretty much an indictment of how this Cowboys season has been. Okay, Cooper Rush back there, he can be capable of throwing that football, but he's not Dak Prescott. Okay, this season is definitely over here for the Dallas Cowboys. There's no hope in the offense. There definitely has not been good hope for the Cowboys defense. I don't know why they're even going to be trying to make the playoffs now. Okay, I just don't see it. Good luck against the Washington Commanders, who has been on a losing streak lately. Losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers by 1 point, and then they're coming off of a loss to the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football. They've been taking the lead there in the first half against the Philadelphia Eagles until Saquon Barkley happened, as he was running all over on the Washington Commanders in the second half of that game. Even though this is a divisional game, I just don't see why the Cowboys are going to even try at this point. You just might as well tank, join the New Jersey Giants into tank mode. The Commanders are going to put a whooping on the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? That's just what's going to happen. Come on. Cooper Rush, CeeDee Lamb, your only good, valuable weapon outside of Ferguson at the tight end. Why are they even going to try in this game? You just might as well tank here, Cowboys. Give me the Washington Commanders. Then you got the Denver Broncos taking on the Vegas Raiders. The Broncos absolutely just put a whooping on the Atlanta Falcons. Bo Nix threw in 4 touchdowns on that Falcons secondary. Man, a lot of people are starting to believe in Mr. Bo Nix. This guy has been playing better and better each week, and he definitely looked pretty darn good against the Atlanta Falcons. So that's very, very good to see. And this Broncos team, man, they have really exceeded their expectations. Many of us did not expect this team to be very, very good. Even myself. I thought this is going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, but man, Sean Payton has really coached these guys up. This defense has been playing way better than I thought it would, and the offense has been looking better than I thought they would do. So, who knows? It looks like we might have a playoff team over there in the AFC West. And they're going to be taking on the Vegas Raiders, who are just looking for the season to be over at this point. Losing to Miami Dolphins. Now, at least their offense looks better than mediocre, but that's not really saying much, okay? This is a very, very bad football team. This looks like another one of these teams that are going to be in tank mode. So, yeah. Look, things are not looking very, very good for the Vegas Raiders. Now, this is a team that I expect to not be very good, the Vegas Raiders. Now, this is a division game for the AFC West. I won't be surprised if the Vegas Raiders will make this game competitive. It's being played in Vegas, so I won't be surprised if it ends up being very close. But the way how the Broncos have been playing lately, man, I am very, very impressed. So give me the Denver Broncos to take care of business against the Vegas Raiders. Doesn't matter if the game is close or whether if it's a blowout. This Raiders team is definitely not on the level of Denver. So give me the Denver Broncos. And then we have what might have been one of the games of the week, but I'm going to tell you why I'm a little hesitant to say that. So you got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Green Bay Packers. All right, 49ers. So, first off, they lost to the Seattle Seahawks. That's the first time that they lost to the Seattle Seahawks since Russell Wilson left the Seattle Seahawks. They allowed Geno Smith to run all over them, especially in that last drive. That definitely looked bad there. But that's not all. I looked at the injury report. Brock Purdy is not going to suit up against the Green Bay Packers, and neither is Nick Bosa. So that pass rush for the 49ers is not going to be as good. They will definitely miss Nick Bosa on that defensive line, and that will show it in this game. They're going to be starting Brandon Allen there at quarterback. Now, I did watch some of his tape. He's not bad. He's decent, but he's not Brock Purdy, okay? Kyle Shanahan is known to make his quarterback feeling very, very comfortable. No, doesn't matter who is out there, but come on, Brandon Allen, I just don't see this happening. But they're going to be taking on them Green Bay Packers, who able to just survive against the Chicago Bears, thanks to Carl Brooks making a block on Carlos Santos for the game-winning field goal. At least the Bears thought it was going to be a game-winning field goal. And I know we want to talk about Jordan Love and those interceptions, which has not been looking good. He already had the same amount of interceptions he had last season with 11. But even with those interceptions, he was still able to make a lot of very good throws there at the end. Still able to overcome those mistakes that he made. But I will say this. Even though Jordan Love has been making a lot of good throws there into the season, especially overcoming those mistakes, and he said it himself, he's been watching a lot of film about the last time he faced the 49ers in that playoff game. He's going to have to learn from his mistakes, especially those interceptions that he threw at the end of that game. Now, if Brock Purdy would have played in this game, I would probably be a bit kind of less confident that the Packers will be able to beat the 49ers. I mean, I'd still be confident, but not as high. But now with Brock Purdy out, now I'm definitely confident here that we can beat the 49ers. And I expect them to. Give me the Green Bay Packers to get the job done against the 49ers. This is probably the game that the Packers have circled. They want revenge, and they will show it here in this game, ending the playoff hopes for the San Francisco 49ers after they got their hearts broken by the 49ers in that playoff game. Give me the Green Bay Packers to get their revenge on the 49ers. Then you got an NFC West showdown between the Arizona Cardinals and taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Cardinals are able to enjoy themselves a bye week, and they have been rolling. The last time we see them was against the New Jersey Jets as they dominated against them. And this offense has been flying, man. Kyler Murray, it looks like he is on a mission. Might be having one of his best seasons of his NFL career. And that's because of his legs. And he can scare you with his arm. Doesn't matter what he does. This guy is playing at a very, very, very high level. So that is great to see Kyler Murray doing his thing. And they're going to be taking on the Seattle Seahawks, who were able to beat the San Francisco 49ers in their home turf in San Francisco. Thanks to Geno Smith using his leg that he called game at the end, leading this team to a game-winning touchdown. So that's good to see for Mr. Geno Smith. I'm not going to lie to you, I kind of went back and forth here. Even though the Seahawks beat the 49ers, I still don't know if I can trust the Seahawks because they have shown me that they have been a bit inconsistent. The offensive line, I don't love it over there in Seattle. The defensive line been banged up. Don't love that. While the Cardinals have been looking the better team between them and the Seahawks. So I won't be surprised if the Seahawks are able to get the win here. But they have been losing like 4 games in a row at home. 4 straight home game losses for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, perhaps they can prove me wrong, but until I see that happening, I got to go with the better team here, the Arizona Cardinals. I expect them to pretty much run all over the Seattle Seahawks with James Conner and other running backs. Kyler Murray going to be using his legs to run over the Seahawks defense. While the Seahawks, they might show some inconsistency again, and I expect them to do that here again. So, give me the better team, Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals win as they continue to make themselves known to be the team to beat for the NFC West. Then on Sunday Night Football, you got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Los Angeles Rams. The Eagles, the last time we seen them was on Thursday Night Football as they were able to beat their divisional opponent, the Washington Redskins. Dang it. I remember that I said that I'm going to be calling the Commanders the Redskins, but I definitely called them the Commanders earlier, so dang it. But yes, they beat the Redskins. Better name, in my opinion. They were in the close game against the Redskins in the first half of that game. But then the second half of that game, as I mentioned earlier, Saquon Barkley called game. And man, this guy has been making a huge impact for this Eagles team. Doesn't matter whether he breaks a long run, whether or not he's jumping backwards over defenders. Doesn't matter what he does. This guy has been making a huge impact for this team. I know Giants fans over there feeling like that the Giants have regretted letting this man go. Now, one concern for the Eagles is that Devontae Smith will not be playing in this game, dealing with the hamstring. So that's not great there for the Eagles. Taking on the LA Rams, were able to beat the New England Patriots in New England. Matthew Stafford throwing 4 touchdowns against the Patriots defense. And that definitely looked like a different offense against the Patriots than they did against the Miami Dolphins, which was very, very surprising to me. I thought they were going to score a number of points against the Dolphins, so that didn't happen. But at least they were able to do that against the Patriots. It is going to be played in LA, but I'm not sure if this is you would call a home game for LA. I have a feeling that Eagles fans are going to be showing out in LA. It will basically be a home game here for the Eagles, even though it's in LA. But even with Devontae Smith, if they're going out, that doesn't really matter to me because I don't know if I really trust the Rams defense here, and particularly in their run defense. Number of teams have been pretty much running all over them, and last time I checked, the Eagles still have Saquon Barkley. What do you think he's going to do against that Rams defense? And speaking of the Rams defense, I will say, Jade Veers, the rookie that the Rams drafted, he has been looking very, very good throughout this season for the Rams. It looked like the Rams had gotten themselves a home run getting that man on that defensive line. So that is amazing to see. But in terms of this game, I'm expecting the Eagles to pretty much run all over the Rams defense. I think Matthew Stafford is going to be able to make this game competitive. But at the end, I trust the Eagles' run game a little bit more than I do with the Rams' offense. The Eagles are pretty good at stopping the run throughout the whole season. And even though I like Kyren Williams, the running back for the Rams, I'm just not sure if he's going to have a good amount of success going up against that Eagles defense. So because of that, I got to go with the Philadelphia Eagles getting the win on the road. Or quote-unquote road win. And then we got ourselves a hardball bowl here on Monday Night Football. You got the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. 2 brothers going at it at each other, but only one is going to survive after this game. The brothers I'm talking about is John Harbaugh for the Baltimore Ravens going up against his brother Jim Harbaugh for the LA Chargers. Both brother coaches going at it. Let's start with the Ravens, who unfortunately lost to their divisional opponent, that is being the Pittsburgh Steelers, before the Steelers faced the Cleveland Browns. But the Ravens, they kind of look like a shell of themselves. Now, they were able to score a couple of touchdowns, but they still lost the game. They definitely did not look good. Derrick Henry even had a fumble at the beginning of the game, which is very unusual to see from Derrick Henry, the king himself. And Justin Tucker has been missing some easy kicks, man. I don't know what's going on with him. Normally, he would make these kicks here out of his sleep. He missed a 40-yarder, and I believe he missed a 50-yarder. But normally, those are like chippers for him. So I don't know what's up with that. And Lamar Jackson continues to struggle against that Pittsburgh Steelers defense and team. Now, the defense were able to kind of show up, but I still do not really trust the Ravens defense here still, after they have not been looking very good. At least their secondary, I should say. Their secondary has not been looking good throughout the whole season. And they're going to be taking on the LA Chargers, who, boy, They were almost about to do something that looked very, very familiar. They almost chargered it. And by chargered, I mean choked. They really could have lost to the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday Night Football, man. If it wasn't for those missed kicks by the Bengals kicker, the Bengals could have won that game, but they didn't. The Chargers were just able to hang on against the Cincinnati Bengals. Did you see that T. Higgins almost about to make that catch there at the end of the game? Boy. But thankfully for them, Derwin James were able to break up that pass, and that ended up having the Chargers winning that game at the end. And no doubt, this game is about to be fireworks here, man. Two head coaches that are brothers, two brothers who knows each other very, very well. Now, I think this game is going to come down to who is going to run the ball effectively and who is going to have the ball last, at least in my opinion. I won't be surprised if the Chargers end up winning this game because, as I mentioned earlier, I do not know if I can trust the Ravens secondary. And doesn't matter who Justin Herbert going to throw the ball to, that secondary is just not very good. And they have a pretty good running game, but the Ravens have a pretty good run defense. So do the Chargers run defense, but the Ravens run defense is definitely better here. I'm going to pick the Baltimore Ravens here. I'm going to pick the Ravens just because their running game style is different than the Chargers running game style. Obviously, you got Lamar Jackson, but you also got Derrick Henry and other running backs, if you want to include them, who always have success in this running game system here for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I could be wrong on this, and maybe the Chargers can prove me wrong. And there's some familiarity with some former Ravens, like J.K. Dobbins and this offensive coordinator who used to coach for the Baltimore Ravens. But yeah, I expect this game to be very, very close. But I think the Ravens are going to pull it off at the end and potentially chase those Steelers for this AFC North division. Give me the Baltimore Ravens. So that is it. Those are my picks for all of these games for Week 12. So hopefully I'm going to have another winning record. I'm not going to lie to you. This is probably the most uncomfortable I have felt throughout all these weeks because who knows? I picked the Steelers to beat the Browns, but the Browns are going to get the win. I picked the Vikings to beat the Chicago Bears, but perhaps the Bears might pull it off. I picked the Broncos to beat the Vegas Raiders, but perhaps the Raiders might prove me wrong. There are a number of games here that could go either way, in my opinion. So, crossing my fingers that I have another positive record for this week, but still, this is Professor Cam that you're looking at here. But there you go. These are my Week 12 predictions of the NFL. What are your thoughts about these games? You can put your comments down below. I would love to know. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and also please subscribe. And until next time, this is Cam chillin', and I am signing off. Peace.